You're still under oath, ma'am. You may be seated. Yes, Mr. Root.
Thank you, madam. Good morning. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
I'm going to deal with two aspects today only, so that you know where I'm going. The first one would be credibility, and the second one will be reliability. Now, I asked you yesterday a couple of times and still do not have your answer. But we have a copy of the record if necessary. I'll make it available, and of course to the court. And that is that before you made your statement, you did not believe Oscar Pistorius' version that that he thought that Reeva was an intruder. When he shot Reeva, that he thought it was an intruder. What do you say about that?
Milady, as I said yesterday, I cannot understand when I heard the version how there wasn't mention made of a female that shouted. I clearly heard a female shout. So, as I stated yesterday, the person that can answer that will be Mr. Pistorius.
So what you say is that when you heard at the bail application that it was put there that Reeva did not shout, you immediately realized, but this cannot be because I distinctly heard a woman shouting, and by inference it must have been Reeva. Is my understanding correct?
Milady, I wondered where is the lady that was shouting. I heard that and I felt I had to say what I heard. Also my colleague said to me I need to state what I heard.
Is my summary correct that I put to you?
Please can you repeat your summary, sir?
Please, if you don't mind, madam, just listen carefully to the question. The question was not that difficult, and it follows from your first answer. And that is, because you heard at the bail application that it was put on behalf of Mr. Pistorius, that the woman was not screaming, which we know could only have been Reeva, this woman. You realized this could not be because you distinctly heard the woman screaming, which could only have been Reeva. Is that a fair summary?
Lady, I realized that that is not what I heard. I can only offer my version. So if someone heard something else, that's so. This is my version, what I heard. It does not correlate with my version.
Shall I repeat it again? Please listen carefully. What caused you to realize that it could not be, his version could not be correct, was the fact that you heard that at the bail application, and I'm following on your first answer, at the bail application you heard that it was put, or it was stated on behalf of Mr. Pistorius, that Reeva did not scream, and you knew that could not be. You heard it.
Lady, at the bail application what was said, that version does not coincide with what I heard. And I wanted to state my version to the court.
But your reaction came from what was put at the bail application that Reeva did not scream. That's where it comes from, that reaction, that it could not be.
Milady, I can say that I heard a woman scream. It was not stated in the bail application. It's part of my version. The police then knocked on my door and asked me my version before I even gave through my testimony, and that's what I stated. That's
Can
what
I
I
go
heard.
back to it again? You heard something that you called at the pre-trial or the bail application, that a statement was made. I'm just following on your first answer, man. That a statement was made on behalf of Mr. Pistorius that Reeva did not scream. Is that correct? Did you hear that?
Milady, I heard in the bail application that it was stated that only one person screamed.
Yes. And that caused you to realize, but that cannot be, because you heard the woman screaming.
Milady, so I heard a woman screaming. I don't know, maybe Mr. Pistorius can explain that what happened, why my version does not coincide with that version.
That caused you to think that it could not be, that statement could not be correct on behalf of Mr. Pistorius because you heard a woman screaming. Not so.
Milady, as I stated before, my version did not coincide with that version, so that's not my version. I heard what was said in the bail application, but my version, what I heard, is not that. So,
Yeah. I'm going
and also the distance, as I said yesterday.
to the 8th time the same question. Is it difficult?
So, lady, I agree it's the 8th time. But my argument has been answered 8 times. And we should now move on. How else would we answer a question if it's put? Is that what caused you to give a version? Is it because you didn't believe the version? My version did not coincide. That's a word. Well, then it's argument.
I don't think it's been answered.
Thank you, Malay. Now, I'm going to put it again. Maybe it's not clear. And I'm going to be really slow this time. You heard, and stop me when it's wrong, because I don't want to go through this pain again. You heard at the bail application, doesn't matter in what specific form, that it was put on behalf of Mr. Pistorius, or it was his version or whatever, that Reeva did not scream that evening. Is that correct?
Milady, because my version is different to what I heard them say, what I heard is different. I can't
Just
agree.
1 minute.
I can't
Let me
agree
just
with what they
explain.
said. I can't agree with his version.
Hold on. When counsel asks a question, you answer that question. Unless he asks for an explanation, you don't give an explanation. If the answer is yes, you say yes. If it's no, you say no. If you don't know, you say I don't know. If you don't remember, you say I don't remember. Otherwise, you will be in that witness box for another day and maybe tomorrow or the day thereafter. The quicker way to get out of that box is to answer exactly what counsel is asking.
Thank you, Milady.
Yes. Mr. Nell is here to see to it that if there's any confusion, he clears it up during re-examination. Okay. Yes.
I'm indebted to court. Thank you, Malay. Do you have the question? What is the answer? Is it yes, that's true, or no, it's not true?
No, I don't agree to that.
What don't you agree to?
To that there was only a man that shouted and that there were only
Question
shots.
is different. You heard at the bail application. I'm not asking if you agree now with it. You heard that it was put on, it was Mr. Pistorius' case, put on his behalf, whatever, that Reeva did not scream that evening. That right? Did you hear that?
No, those words were not what I heard, milady. I heard it was stated, we emphatically state that there was only one person that screamed that night, and that was Mr. Pistorius. That's what I heard.
That's right. So that means one thing. In your mind, it must have meant one thing, that it can only mean one thing, that Reeva did not scream. If it was only him, it means that Reeva did not scream.
That's correct, milady.
Thank you. And that caused you to realize, no more than this, I'm not talking about you being judgmental, just it cannot be because I've heard a woman scream. Is that right?
That's correct, milady. That's what I heard.
And that's in that context that you realized it could not be. It's in that context what you heard from the bail application.
Well, I knew exactly what I heard when I woke up, and yes, then it did not coincide.
Yes, but it was in that context what you heard at the bail application that you realized it could not be. Well, we've gone through it. I don't know why you... I told my husband, it cannot be. Courts, that is not what I heard. You remember that?
Yes.
It had nothing to do with the bail application.
That conversation we had yesterday was about the intruder, and I said it does not coincide with what I heard, because it was stated on the, my husband said it was on the media, he thought there was an intruder, and that's why he shot. And I stated to my lady yesterday that with those fearful, petrifying screams, it couldn't be you think there's an intruder, your life is endangered.
Why not? Why could it not have been right that he thought it was an intruder? Why did you decide then already, it's not true, it's not right, he could not have thought it was an intruder?
My lady, moments, as I stated yesterday, moments before the shots were fired, she had petrifying screams. I heard that female screaming fearfully, and she was very, very scared of something that was threatening her life moments before those shots went, and that made me know her life was threatened severely in the house. That's why she shouted. It could not coincide with thinking there's something outside.
But after the event and before that call to your husband, you thought it was a break-in. After hearing her screaming, him screaming, her screaming again, and the shots, you still thought that it was either a robbery or a housebreaking?
Yes, my lady, that's correct, because you only shout like that if your life is really threatened. She was fearing for her life, so I didn't doubt that.
Yes, you thought before falling asleep again, that evening, after hearing all of this, that was a housebreaking or a robbery. That's what you thought.
Yes, my lady, due to the fearful shouts and the shots.
So what was new that caused you not to believe it the next morning?
In the media, the next day, they said Mr. Pistorius said he thought there was an intruder, and then he shot his girlfriend Reeva and killed her because he thought it was an intruder.
But what?
But there wasn't an intruder in the house. No one spoke again about an intruder in the house.
No, but you didn't know at that time anything more than that one sentence. That your husband tells you that it was in the news that Mr. Pistorius thought there was an intruder in the house and that he shot his girlfriend. That's all you knew.
Yes.
So you didn't know that maybe what happened in that house, what did they think? Because both of them were yelling, both of them were screaming help. How did that match up with an intruder? What was there on those limited facts to say it could not be?
Lady, first with the first section of the question, I only heard terrible screams of the female. I heard both of them shouting for help. Please can you repeat the rest of the question?
Well, please tell me, why did you answer in that way that I can understand it? How did you see that as an answer?
You spoke about both of them screamed,
Yes.
and I heard only a female screaming and female calling for help and a male calling for help.
Yes.
I did not hear a man screaming. I
Yes.
did not hear.
But that's my point. After this event, that early morning when you go back to bed, you only heard a woman screaming and a man and a woman screaming for help. That's what you heard, not so?
I heard
a
a
woman screaming.
Lady, I'm really sorry to interrupt Mr. Roos' cross-examination, but I've just been informed that they're showing this witness's face on the TV as we speak. And there's been a court order that should not be allowed. And it's now happening, my lady, and I really do think we should stop it.
Who's responsible for this?
My lady, I've been shown on a cell phone by our media person there that they're showing that. Perhaps we should just take an adjournment so that we can investigate what's going on.
Yes, please do.
Get what's going on.
Yes, please do. Because you're still under oath, ma'am. Yes, you may be seated. Yes, Mr. Root.
Believe Oscar Pistorius' version that that he thought that Reeva was an intruder. When he shot Reeva, that he thought it was an intruder. What do you say about that?
Milady, as I said yesterday, I cannot understand when I heard the version how there wasn't mention made of a female that shot.
I asked you yesterday a couple of times and still do not have your answer. But we have a copy of the record, and if necessary I'll make it available, and of course to the court. And that is that before you made your statement, you did not, I'm going to deal with two aspects today only, so that you know where I'm going. The first one would be credibility, and the second one will be reliability. Now, good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.